Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to your Senate chamber. Thank you for joining us this afternoon. Before we begin our session, today is April 8, 2024. It's exactly 1:12 in the afternoon. It's our first special Senate session. And before we begin, may I ask for a moment of silence? Clerk, please call the roll.
Senator Babalta,
Presente.
Senator Cruz,
Yeah.
Madam President,
Here.
Senator Hofschneider,
Lady.
Senator King Neighbors,
Here.
Senator Magofnia, Senator Maglonia Donald,
Present.
Senator Maglonia Paul,
Here.
Senator Mandiola,
Here.
Madam President, all eight members present and one member absent.
Thank you, Clerk. We have established the necessary numbers to conduct our business this afternoon. Let the record reflect also that Senator Karina Magofnia is hereby excused from today's session. And joining us online is Senator Neighbors from the island of Tinian. Before we begin, we are also live on cable TV, channel 23, and live on the CNMI Legislature's YouTube channel, which will be shared on the CNMI Legislature's Facebook page as well. And assisting us this afternoon is our Senate Legal Counsel, Jose Bermudez, our Acting Senate Clerk, Shaniel Borja, Senate Legislative Assistant, Jolene Duenas-Tagabuel, our Senate IT Manager, Jonathan Diaz, and our Sergeant at Arms is Benjamin Terlahi. Thank you for helping us this afternoon. Moving on to item B, under public comment, we are now open for public comments to comment on any of the items on the agenda. Please state your name and the entity you are representing and limit your comment to 5 minutes. Thank you.
Good afternoon, half a day, Antiro, Madam Senate President, Ms. Edith de Leon Guerrero, and honorable members of this esteemed Senate body. For record purposes, my name is Jean-Paul B. Regis, Acting Special Assistant for Administration under the Office of the Governor. On behalf of Governor Arno I. Palacios and Lieutenant Governor David M. Apateng, I thank you for the opportunity to appear before you today. I am here to extend the administration's appreciation and express our gratitude to you, Madam Senate President, and to your Committee on Executive Appointments and Government Investigations, chaired by Senator Selena R. Babalta, and members, for your unwavering time and effort in reviewing and examining our nominees. This afternoon, you'll be entertaining Senate Standing Committee Report 23-79 and 23-80, the appointments of Mr. Pedro Q. de la Cruz to serve as board member for the Marano's Public Land Trust, representing the 1st Senatorial District of the island of Rota, and Ms. Luela I. Marciano to serve as resident executive for the Indigenous Affairs Office. Your untiring commitment and dedication on behalf of our nominees is just a step forward as the administration completes vacancies for all board members, commissions, and activity heads. Again, Madam Senate President De Leon Guerrero, and to you, honorable members of this Senate August body, Governor Arno I. Palacios and Lieutenant Governor David M. Apateng extends their sincere appreciation for your generous and favorable consideration on behalf of our nominees here today. Thank you, Jesus Masi Zangliso.
Sizus Masi, Mr. Regis, please provide your written statement to our Sergeant at Arms. Thank you. We are still open for public comments on any of the agenda items this afternoon. Anybody else? Okay, we are officially closing this section of our agenda this afternoon. Moving on to item C. Thank you, Ms. Schneider. You are limited to 5 minutes.
Good afternoon, Madam President and members. Ni si gay Senador. Go si Liana Mangloin sa Blonhoff Schneider, gagizu gini para matua Council for Native Chamor Advancement. Parewa no tibiripiti ofa I issues yan ni ta bring up giman mapus. First of all, una congratulations si trustee sa pwede ma-confirm si trustee no Dela Cruz sa no admaninanga Immer's Public Land Trust ni para ni replace I former no trustee si Vianney Hokok. So congratulate no Wiza na finally he's going through this process. Unlike Indigenous Affairs, recommendation gini system ma-finalize pa ma-recommend is on yan no committee report resident executive for Indigenous Affairs ufafaisin si pisun senador na ani puro ma public hearing si trustee no De La Cruz ne mafaisin to luta sa po representa municipality in luta. Isti Indigenous Affairs ne una na oficina gay constitution sa mamanda dongkulo. In fact, trust in Maran's Public Land Trust, the subject to impeachment, most higher level is still okay. Parewa is the resident executive. No to comprendi often na mampus ta no ta susunik mo na sti sadig sa timan manay oportunidad ito to luta, zan ito to tinian, zan ino siya tauto ni man samoro ni mangagi gano uzung gi no ocho siya na lugar sa guahamas no atensyon ni sin oficina. To comprendi often na mararush, ko mararush esti na oficina, manay kadgo ni 11,000 plus square meters na Department of Public Land na tono gipapag sa Katanuda. Paramzo titumungo fa kan mon kay Katanuda with the Civic Center former Marano no district legislature. Edzigi ni gagi uno non-profit, edzigi lo kinalugat ni mausa ni para magago is 21 million za malagozo para manaklaro resident executive for Indigenous Affairs acting o naklaro mungi itano dan mungi 21 million ni para Indigenous Cultural Center sa Indigenous Affairs guagon niya citizen centric report is 2019 matsonik estimo na ma-assign ni tano za magogogo za guaha ma-apreba para maoksa Chamorro Cultural Center gigwato na lugar. Pues sa 11,000 square meters, tirebi na paro ma-sundize o po mausa para 8 na project, fera dedzo. Esta gua plan, sa ginigimapos, giso na public hearing, tiya mensyon na i-acting resident executive, edzo elect niya na po maaregla, puro ma-repair, no tatiz siya gumahiga, ni man kagigi papa, ti edzo, edzo papa na lugar, 11,000 square meters, no kumuting comprendi, way back, no maski 15 años, man debate ami po na tano sa pumatila para 40 years ni Russian investor za ami no pretehis na tano eventually ma-transfer ato para parks sa ginago ni na tano para Chamorro Cultural Center and Museum. Chamorro Cultural Center and Museum guasta no archaeological architectural no design ma-design gininas no Darrow Songsung, he's an architect from a graduate from the University of Hawaii Manoa. Ti ungo ken no gimapos na hearing ani masangan malagozo resident executive acting para na klaro no. Pues enigi fa sinamzo. Yotu no ja uma the first in a committee no report adoption is takima na klaro todo ndo siya na ginago ng siya mas no ni oficina no mamanda sa tema mention gi public hearing. Importante na mas tempo para public hearing. Yotu no Madam President no ugogogo support amzo ni members para si Senate Bill 2361 ago author ni Bill sa no ginasutsungis na bill gini gizumizo session material House Communication no agogogoy House Communication 23-122 bill si Congressman no BJ Acto no gogogo 23-104 5.236 million ginin dividends ginin CDA makolek para izonya no CUC no dividends para 25% retirees lo at the same time ufafaisin na umana dinanya zinfandanya na olo mizizo mo bill ni po fan mazuda di siya los prohimus ni retirees fanan 200 no siya na retirees ni man madidadak no this several months ago sa fanan was 6-7 months mizo niya pension ugagagwa zudun mizo neno dan consideration mizo expenses sa kalan Pag umafatuzo gini totolan zero.
I'm going to give you another 2 minutes. Thank you.
Sizus masi. Ayotro na komunikasyon gini gwa gini no komunikasyon gini ni Marans Public Land Trust si Chairman Philip no Mendiola Long afafasin po manaholum i America i ginayno tutok i Marans Public Land Trust Park Fund as part of the discussion. Importante so takte katonya gini importante nagwa caution ang tamano para tafaisin ni Federal Pudesti and pumababa i open investment ni pumana-invest ki MPOT trustees sa gini gimapos gwahan man malingo sa lapi ni ma-invest giza Russia sang giza China and there's a ex-China policy as we speak. Polo sa amdun speaker offer kumikaling yan na ex-China policy gi investment. Zaman malingo sa lapi ni sa lapi tototano kinin investment. Iocho gogo suputasyon mizo loki para esti communication puri United Airlines para itan ito hindi gini sa government nuwagwan. Lastly, no, Madam President, malagwa zo pabiri idre talo sa no tunga na no giminagahit kof no tsatsagasti para karabirada before tumagi. Lo bastahin no este special session na kiniprende ko para emergency. Este po ma-include i-resident executive no zonya no a committee report gi special session kaya merit special session. A merit na mas gwa public hearings no facing consideration mizo pen po talo taktis gi komite si Masi.
Thank you, Ms. Hofschneider. Again, guys, more written comment. Not you, Sergeant at Arms, bin na patige report pa gunani. Where, Mr. Hofschneider, I'll give you 5 minutes for public comments. Thank you.
Sus Masi, Hafari, Ms. President Mogothin, and members of the Senate, honorable Senates, and todo say legal counsel and staff. I want to speak in English so that others can understand. We have similar concern. Richard Antolan Schneider. I'm a private citizen and I'm a Tototano, and I'm not an NMD as per Article 11 and Article 12. We deserve to be protected more than those articles in our Constitution. First of all, Senate President, I would like to support your Senate Bill 2361. And we have to address this, and we have to be compassionate to a lot of these former employees of the government, and former and now retirees. Only the legislature, both houses of the legislature and the governor can address this, and lieutenant governor, and be compassionate because the high cost of living, inflation is very high for a lot of us here, and cutting costs, cutting in their pension, especially to my good friend Selvi Bora here. He worked so hard being a CUC many years in the power plant system, and he retired. And I think he deserves to be addressed and rectified with his, these issues. So this is a start. Senate Bill 2361. Susmasi. True. I want to go to the Standing Committee report. Standing Committee report number 2379. This is Mr. Pedro de la Cruz. Susmasi, thank you for. I support Mr. de la Cruz, so MPOT can once and for all unanimously can sit down and decide the future interests and protection of the Tototano, of the hundreds of $1 million and many more that they have to invest and prudently higher standard of living. Don't forget the interests of the Tototano, Mr. Pedro de la Cruz, and we appreciate your help, and we'll be seeing you during your meetings. And also Standing Committee Report number 2380, Ms. Luela Marciano for IAO, she's the acting. As I, Ms. President, as I before stood up in opposition to this nominee, I asked the Senate President and members of the Senate to extend this like Ms. Liana Sablan Hofschneider said, go to Rota, Tinian, and Hawaii, and all the places, the 1,000 some voters there, that this office is so important that they have to talk to them and see how they feel. I don't know via Zoom or what, but it's important. The executive appointment should withdraw this recommendation, and the Senate should withdraw this recommendation until we hear all of them. In fact, Ms. President, Madam President, I see the communication from the governor, and I think tomorrow you're going to have a committee hearing for RD regarding the SWASU issue too. The lease, 40 years plus 15. I think that should go together because a lot of our indigenous people, during election or summer holiday, baseball, I see a lot of our leaders go there and visit, which is very good. Communicate with a lot of our people there, the indigenous people, and it's important that you take this, Senator Babauta and members of the Senate, and go talk to them how they feel about this, the DPL draft DPL negotiation with the Secretary of Santos. And definitely, I don't agree with certain portion. For example, giving $5,000 to Carolinian Affairs Office and $5,000 to Indigenous, and there's more to Totano, Chamorro than the Carolinian Affairs. So we should have to look at that. That's a very discrimination and injustice to us, the Chamorros. And in order to, on your last committee hearing, Senate President, your committee mentioned that they want to put, Senator Tabata mentioned now, but they want to put the NMD registry in the Indigenous Affairs Office. NMD, as you probably all know, is a political definition, and Indigenous is like water and oil. They don't match. So we want the Indigenous people, only the Chamorros, because I asked several Chamorros, if you're here in Saipan, Tinian, or Road, anywhere, which office do you go and they take care of you 100%? They focus on you 100%. Right now, there's no office, according to the way we're heading in this legislature. So we want that Indigenous affairs to be just Indigenous people. As far as also the nominee too mentioned about citing the constitutional history or legislative history since synonymous to the legislature regarding Dr. Kaipat's testimony about this issue about the Indigenous affairs. Let's be mindful there's many delegates there, and I worked in that. I was a staffer there. I was a second year at the University of White Hilo, and I remember that. I remember the late Dr. Kaipa, the late Dr. Honorable Guzomar, the late Feliciano Moro, and I remember there's a political shifting in the negotiation. So we don't want to be Indigenous people cannot deal with politics because there's no party in Indigenous. It's only the Tototano. And I urge that this Senate, Mr. President, would take this Standing Committee Report 2380 and for further deliberation to what we're suggesting. And lastly, with the MPLT, I don't agree having that 100% to put that on the 902. We have more pressing agenda in the covenant relationship with the United States. Other than that, let's just focus on investing. And also, lastly, Mr. President, I would like to have you, if you can, with most honorable requesting, President, to have the Senate come up with to interpret what's the meaning of Article 3, Section 23 of the Constitution, and how does the Senate the legislature defines Indigenous, and tell us, to the people, the public, and us, the Tototan especially, who are the Indigenous people. And I want the Senate to come up with this definition from the Senate as a body, the 23rd Senate and the 23rd legislature. And then we'll go down to the House and request when they have a session and see, because we need the guidance so we can move forward from that interpretation. And no, Sus Masi and Sus Masi, Senator Cruz, Senator Manglonia, Senator Mendiola, Senator Manglonia, and Senator Babauta, and Senator Hofschneider, and Senator President, Dunklin and Sus Masi. And I'll turn in my official written testimony.
Sus Masi, Mr. Hofschneider.
Thank you very much, Sus Masi.
Thank you. We are now officially closed for the public comment period of this agenda this afternoon. Moving on to item C, reading and approval of the journal. I now recognize the floor leader.
Thank you, Madam President. I now offer a motion to adopt Senate Journal numbers 2327, second day, third regular session dated February 9th, 2024. Senate Journal 2328, third day, third regular session dated February 20, 2024. And Senate Journal 2329, fourth day, third regular session dated February 26, 2024.
There's a motion to adopt Senate Journals 23-27, 28, and 29, and has been seconded. Any comments from the members? None? All those in favor say aye. Nays? Senate Journals 23, 27, 28, and 29 is hereby adopted. Moving on to item D, messages from the governor. Clerk.
Madam President, we have Governor's Message number 23-253 through 23-259.
Any comments from the members? None. Moving on to item E, communications from the judiciary. Clerk.
Madam President, we have Judiciary Communication numbers 23-09 and 23-10.
Comments from the members? Moving on, item F, communications from the heads of executive departments. Clerk.
Madam President, we have Department Message numbers 23-67 and 23-68.
Any comments from the members? Moving on, item G, communications from the House. Clerk.
Madam President, we have House Communication numbers 23-121 through 23-125.
Comments from the members? I recognize now Senator Paul Manglonia.
Just Masi, Madam President, malaga jo by common gini ki communication from the House, item 2. This is with regards to House Communication 23-122. Tunga, Madam President, na todos stay members man awareness din na appropriation na mapasa ki House 5.236 million para 25% para i-retiraw siya. Tauza babay faisi na i-kinimprindin niya siya membro no nesti na appropriations sa no torsi sa stat tumungo sigun gimiting ta ni gobyerno gimapus na si Mona no na kredikares para mga nofan ma-deduct retirees no wa siya concern gini na aktu uno i-rason put ka lones za inasoko na después de meeting ta gua esta inakomprende na ti para lones i otro gua question put ka CIPST da inasoko na i-provision a Koreano na mapegazi notwithstanding na provision pues tauza muna kumakamenzo pago sa sigungi administrasyon si governor no tatungan este dia 15 na no na para ang gwa reduction po ni efekta za kakaya trebia 15 sta oto semana lo ikinemprendeo ma transfer i salapi watu gi settlement fund gi tegini an matis kada matis di después de no na poma distribute pension pues toda para faisi na membro na komisiya taatan este za no 20 sinya wa consideración zangen no tahag este ti agupa niya ta relay watu no gi house and gi gobyerno ko saki no masaya ti matis lo como manakit pago na si Mona ta agradecias ti za kumekwento zo no sinya mizu no conflict zo sa golo ki uno na retirao no siya binti gi pumalo gi Senate za ni House law ti kumekwento zo por guao na kumekwento zo por siya gano uzong man retirao na man susustu sa pudi angin si kaso na mamadidoksia, giste na makarekonomiya. Pues toda para faisi na ikinimprindin mizu todos na mga tsongo dan sa papa na guma kumusinya ta mientras más gusi ta dress más sinya ni nagwa no man tranquilo na sinenti gi retire siya. Pues kumusinya gagagaw kinimprindin mizu za ang sinya tapasa ante agupa or Miyerkules por más atrasado no mientras chadik más en su cocina gua no comunicación y en el gobierno guatu gi settlement fund sa gipago temana ilenya jota governor use zonya reprogramming za no kulang esta último esta tisinya más estire no za este na salapi como ta pasa naung para este octubre gipago na sakan pago na fiscal year pau kinubri man retirao si Diyos Masi.
Si Dios Masi, Senator Paul. Any other comments from the members? para i-maniekmog ni publiko, ang salita move agenda mo na unggan no esesti siya na asunto madiskuputi gi Senate, manlisti Senado ni para ma-address i-artikulo ni often no concerns manggay gigibiyo kung todo isida. Siyempre si Senator Don Manglonia anunsya later on gi meeting pago gi Talawani para i-special meeting committee para gupa. Moving on to item H under communications from the Senate. Clerk?
Madam President, we have Senate Communication numbers 23-409 through 23-421.
Any comments from the members? None? Moving on to item I, communications from the Washington delegate.
Madam President, we have Washington Delegate numbers 23-05.
Any comments from the members? None? Item J, unfinished business, there is none. And if there's no objections from the members, I would like to move the agenda on to item M so that we could address the confirmation of the nominees this afternoon. I now recognize the floor leader to move on to address item number 4 and 5 of the reports of standing committees. Floor leader.
Thank you, Madam President and colleagues. I now move to adopt Senate Standing Committee Report number 2379 from the Committee on EAGI reporting on the executive appointment of Mr. Pedro de la Cruz to serve as a trustee of the Marianas Public Land Trust, representing the 1st Senatorial District of Rhoda. So moved.
There's a motion to adopt Standing Committee Report number 23-79. It has been seconded. Any comments from the members? And I'll recognize Senator Salina Babauta.
Thank you, Madam President. And again, colleagues, Mr. De La Cruz was nominated by then Acting Governor David M. Apatang on January 11th, 2024, and his confirmation hearing was conducted on Rhoda on March 27, 2024. This nomination is in accordance with Article 11, Section 6 of the NMI Constitution and other statutory provisions of the Commonwealth. Aside from obtaining his undergraduate degree in economics and sociology from Western New Mexico University in the United States, Mr. De La Cruz's vast experience in many areas of government makes him a perfect candidate to serve as a trustee for the Marianas Public Land Trust. He was instrumental in forging economic plans for what we now call our Commonwealth. During the Trust Territory era, he served as the Assistant District Economic Development Officer and Chief of the Economic Division. After we became a Commonwealth, he lent his talents as the Secretary of Commerce under the administration of Furlan C. Tenorio and Jesus C. Borja. From A to Z and everything in between, Mr. De La Cruz has served on multiple boards and commissions. There isn't anything he hasn't already done for our government. He is a current retiree managing his own business in Rhoda, but is very willing and able to lend his expertise to serve on the Board of Trustees with the Marianas Public Land Trust. After rigorous questioning, Mr. De La Cruz, to ascertain his knowledge of investments, the EAGI committee is unanimous in its recommendation to advance Mr. De La Cruz's nomination for confirmation. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Senator Babauta. Any other comments from the members? None? Clerk, please call the roll.
Senator Babauta,
Hungan.
Senator Cruz,
Yes.
Senator Hofschneider,
Good.
Senator King Neighbors, Senator King Neighbors,
Yes. Yes.
Senator Magofnia, Senator Manglonia Donald,
Yes.
Senator Manglonia Paul,
Yes.
Senator Mendiola,
Yes.
Madam President.
Yes.
Madam President, all 8 members present voting yes.
With all 8 members voting yes, Standing Committee Report number 23-79 is hereby adopted and also confirms Mr. Pedro Q. De La Cruz to serve as a member of the Marianas Public Land Trust, representing the 1st Senatorial District. Recognized floor leader.
Jesus Mosse, Madam President and colleagues. I now move to adopt Standing Report Committee number 2380 from the Committee on EAGI, reporting on the executive appointment of Ms. Luela Ichihara Marciano to serve as a resident executive for the Indigenous Affairs Office. So moved.
There's a motion to adopt Standing Committee Report number 23-80. It has been seconded. Any comments from the members? Recognize Senator Selena Babauta.
Mrs. Mossip, Madam President. Solo gwini gitanota Marianas, na isinata celebra dos na atsat uniku, lo dangkulo diferensya niya na kultura, tradisyon, umiksisisti, kumuun tawtogi ha za atsat diretsu, para maalo gwini gitalo galum tasi, na gay gitanoho. Adso na siyempre husaga, malagoho. Only in the Commonwealth of the Northern Marianas can we find and celebrate two distinct traditions as one people defined by its constitution as Northern Marianas descent. Ms. Marciano is one of the most unique nominees for this particular position I have ever come across in my many years of government employment. She brings a unique perspective shaped by her bicultural background. She is multilingual. She is native. She is indigenous. She is of Northern Marianas descent. Our strength lies in this bicultural diversity that we live in today. Ms. Marciano's nomination by Governor Palacios, who himself is bicultural, sends a powerful message that our government reflects diversity and inclusion. Her experiences living, existing, experiencing, and rejoicing both the Chamorro and Carolinian cultures allows her to better understand the needs of our population and will serve as a bridge to both cultures and foster collaboration. But putting all the differences aside, ultimately knowing and accepting both cultures are exactly what this department needs to succeed. Therefore, Madam President, I ask all my colleagues to adopt Standing Committee Report number 2380 as it is. Thank you, and I yield.
Thank you, Senator Babauta. Any other comments from the members? None. Clerk, please call the roll.
Senator Babalta,
Hungan.
Senator Cruz, Senator Hofschneider,
Good.
Senator King Neighbors,
Yes.
Senator Maglonia Donald,
Yes.
Senator Maglonia Paul,
Yes.
Senator Mendiola.
Good.
Madam President,
Yes.
Madam President, all 8 members present voting yes.
With all 8 members voting yes, Standing Committee Report number 23-80 is hereby adopted and confirms Ms. Luela I. Marciano to serve as a resident executive for the Indigenous Affairs Office. Short recess, please. Okay, we are back from our short recess, and we are still on item M. I will now recognize the floor leader to finish up on items 1, 2, and 3.
Thank you, Madam President. I now offer a motion to adopt Standing Committee Report Number 2376 from the Committee on Fiscal Affairs, reporting on House Bill 23-7 to amend 4 CMC Section 1401D to increase revenues by properly taxing tobacco products. So moved.
There's a motion to adopt Standing Committee Report Number 23-76 and has been seconded. Any comments from the members?
Madam President.
I recognize Senator Carl Neighbors.
Thank you, Madam President. If I may, President and members, I was part of the Fiscal Affairs Committee who worked on this piece of legislation, and I advocated initially for passage of this bill. Vice President Manglonia and I, as well, along with the members, worked on language to include the first and second senatorial, along with funding for the health network program, security, etc. However, at the point in time, given the new information that was given out regarding some of the benchmarks and projections that we have not hit in the first quarter, regarding some of the various activities across the spectrum, in that to include tobacco, I am not at this point willing to support this legislation. I use my time.
Thank you, Senator Neighbors, for your comments. Any other comments from the members? Recognize Senator Cruz.
Thank you, Madam President. Tada pa bifysio na fiscal affair no chairman. Njan iligo council ko gini na legislation. Is there any provision to protect these funds once this no become law and collected? Because I've noticed that when funding is critical, we suspend funding under a budget law. I don't see that it makes sense for the passage of increase of taxes, pata suspended, mati orang mas suspended. I just want to know whether there's any protection of these funds that it will not be suspended in the future.
Thank you, Senator Cruz. I now recognize Senator Donald Manglonia.
Thank you, Madam President. I think the protection is the budget process where the members may choose to suspend certain earmarks or not. But that's the only thing that we can protect, in the sense that no matter what legislation is out there, when you look at all the special revenues, there's always that suspension of those earmarks. Even if we provide some type of security in this bill, it can always be suspended through notwithstanding clauses. And so it will be up to the members to determine that come budget process if they would like to continue suspension on these earmarks or protect these earmarks. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Donald Manglonia. Any other comments from the members? Recognize
Madam-
Senator Juthoff Schneider.
Madam President.
I'll be with you, Senator Neighbors. I recognize now Senator Juthoff Schneider.
Just for clarification, so just adopting this committee report doesn't necessarily mean that you are blessing the action made on the floor, correct? But I do want to echo the concerns as raised by the two esteemed gentlemen, Senators Neighbors and Cruz. However, and thank you, Vice President, for the response. I do, however, have a very extreme reservation on taxing, having any tax increases in the midst of where we're at today, given the situation with inflation and everything else that associated with just the cost of living here in the CNMI. So I'll reserve my further comment. But if the order is to adopt this and reflecting that we are in support, then I think we should respectfully request that we should just call a vote to see if we're going to adopt it or not.
Thank you, Senator Hofschneider. I now recognize Senator Carl Neighbors.
Thank you, Madam President, and thank you, Vice President Manglonia, for that response, the earmarks and the suspensions thereof. That whole process is kind of where I also have some concerns, being that this last budget, due to the $9.1 million that the House had budget, that the Senate, in effect, to go into and remedy by suspending everything outside of MVA to try to balance the budget because of the Senate's desire to leave MVA intact. We were at a shortfall after the concurrent resolution of $1.1 million. Now, again, if with these taxes, if they are suspended, they're going to go back to the people who are burdened the most. There's over 600 employees that were cut during the revised and reenacted. So several hours were removed from the remaining government employees' hours. So there was a precipitous drop, I'd imagine, in what the Department of Finance should have, and Tax and Rev should have expected to gain from the income tax. Now, if we fall short again, though these taxes are well intended to go to, again, health network program, biosecurity, funding for the first and senatorial for biosecurity, et cetera, it's all going to be for naught if the projections are off. And the people that we're asking to hold the water on these are the everyday average citizens who are already going through such difficult times. I yield my time.
Thank you, Senator Carl Neighbors. And Council, just to re-clarify the statement of Senator Jute, that the point of order is to adopt the standing committee report only, not necessarily adopting the bill itself.
If the adoption of the committee report passes, it doesn't hang carry the bill itself, because the bill is going to be on the bill calendar and there may be discussion. I know there's already a floor amendment on the bill. So it's different from those appointments. Those are, once you adopt the committee report, it confirms the appointee. It's different for bills. You may adopt the committee report and still make changes when the bill in the bill calendar and there's discussion and there's changes. We don't go back and change the committee report. But if the bill is passed by the majority with any amendments, then that's the bill that's going to go to the House or the governor.
Thank you, Council, and I'll recognize Senator Jute Schneider.
Thank you, Council. But that doesn't necessarily mean that the one member cannot vote no on the adoption of such, right?
The only members not going to vote on the committee report.
Yeah, Madam President.
Recognize Senator Jute Schneider.
Hypothetically speaking, what if 5 of us said no to this adoption? Will it go to the bill product, the bill calendar?
If everything follows, and then it sounds like it's on the bill calendar, on the agenda, the committee report is treated differently on a different vote. And if 5 votes, and if it follows, I guess, I don't know how the bill is going to survive.
Well, that's exactly my point, no, Madam President. That's why I'm saying that if you go for a voice vote and a couple of them says nay, then you're compelled to call a roll call to see the numbers, if it's indeed going to be adopted or not. That's what I'm saying, So either way, I'm ready to move forward with the question.
I think, Council, just for clarification, if you notice, members, on every standing committee report, under conclusion, it states your committee agrees with the intent and purpose of the proposed legislation and recommends its passage in the form. Of course, the bill is there, but at this juncture, we're going through the process of just adopting the standing committee report and not necessarily passing the bill at the same time. This is simply for the adoption of the work of the committee. That's just what it is. It's not passing the bill. I recognize now Senator Cruz.
Mr. President, it's kind of confusing because even the recommendation if you adopt the committee report, even the recommendation no stating recommends for passage, so you agreeing to vote the committee report for the passage, but when you go to the bill and if you decide not to, it's kind of like very it's not making sense. No, you agree to for the passage, but when you go to the final voting of the bill, you're gonna say no, but you're agreeing for the passage. I just wanna completely understand because I every time we adopt committee report on appointments, it's adopted and confirmed at the same time. So I want to know whether it's because this is not a confirmation or it's totally different, but I'm agreeing for the passage, but anyway, I'm not going to vote for the bill. So does that no kind of like doesn't jive that I'm asking or I'm voting for the passage, but when it comes to the actual bill, if I say I'm not going to vote yes, then it doesn't make sense why I'm voting for the passage on the recommendation.
Every member has the right to vote on the committee report. You can vote yes or no. It doesn't mean that if you vote no on the committee report, you may change your mind when it gets to the bill, and then it's up to you again whether you vote yes or no on the bill. But adopting the committee report does not hang carry, doesn't mean that the bill that's attached to a committee report is the final product. The final product will be under the discussion of the bill in the bill calendar.
I recognize Senator Donna Maglonia.
So basically, what you're saying is that if the votes are not there to adopt the committee report, then we need to withdraw this from calendar, correct?
Like I said, I've seen in the past where a member votes no on the committee report, but votes yes on the bill itself. But if everything follows and there's 5 no's on the committee report, logically, it should mean that those 5 no's should still vote no on the bill unless you change your mind. Again, there's a floor amendment on the bill. There may be more than one. I'm aware of one. So voting yes on the committee report doesn't mean it's an automatic yes on the bill, and vice versa.
Thank you, Council. I now recognize Senator Cruz.
Sorry, no council, but I'm just trying to understand. I'm agreeing on the findings of the committee, but I'm not supporting the bill. Does that no make sense? That I'm agreeing with the findings, I'm voting yes on the findings, but I'm not supporting the bill.
If you're asking me for my opinion, it doesn't make sense to vote yes on the committee report and then you're no on the bill. Again, with the amendments night, it may change your mind. And the opposite is also true. You may vote no on the committee report, but you might change your mind under the discussion of the bill itself. It's not together, so it's voted separately.
Thank you, Council. I now recognize Senator Dennis Mendiola.
Thank you, Madam Press. I think at this point, let's just move on with the bill, whether we're gonna pass it or pass recommendation for passage, whether we agree to pass it on committee level and move to the bill, or whether it's not gonna move forward. I think the legal has made his point clear, and if we're gonna keep going back and forth on this, we're just delaying the process. Thank you, Madam Press.
Thank you, Senator Mendiola. And thank you, Council, for explaining that thoroughly, that voting on the standing committee report does not carry the same over to the bill calendar on the respective bill. With no further discussions, Clerk, please call the roll on this standing committee report.
Senator Babalta,
Yes.
Senator Cruz,
No.
Senator Hofschneider,
Munga. Oh, he.
Senator King Neighbors,
No.
Senator Manglonia Donald,
Yes.
Senator Manglonia Paul,
Yes.
Senator Mendiola,
No.
Madam President,
Yes.
Madam President, 4 members voting yes, 4 members voting no, and 1 absent.
Short recess, please. from our short recess. So we were addressing Standing Committee Report number 23-76 with a vote of 4-4. The Standing Committee Report would not be adopted, and it's no longer in existence. Moving on to item number 2, Floor Leader.
Uh,
Acting Floor Leader, Senator Donna Manglona, thank you.
Thank you, Madam President. I move for the adoption of Standing Committee Report 2377 from the Committee on Fiscal Affairs reporting on House Bill number 2356 to utilize the remaining 60% of the total of indirect cost revenue or reimbursement by fiscal year collected for each grant to address the CNMI government's financial deficit and for other purposes. The committee recommends passage in the form of House Bill 2356 SD1.
There's a motion to adopt Standing Committee Report number 23-77. Do I hear a second?
Okay.
All those in favor say aye. For the adoption of Standing Committee Reports, say yes. Next. Standing Committee Report number 23-77 is hereby adopted. Floor Leader.
Thank you, Madam President. I move to adopt Standing Committee Report 2378 from the Committee on Fiscal Affairs reporting on House Bill 2389 to appropriate $380,529.33 generated under 4 CMC subsection 53036 and for other purposes. The committee recommends passage in the form of House Bill 2389 SD1.
There's a motion to adopt Standing Committee Report number 23-78 has been seconded. All those in favor say aye. Nays? Standing Committee Report number 23-78 is hereby adopted. Moving back to the agenda on item K, pre-filed bills, initiatives, local bills, and resolutions. I now recognize Senator Paul Manglona.
Thank you. I want to officially introduce Senate Bill 2362 requiring the road contractors to be licensed in the Commonwealth of the CNMI. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Paul Manglona. And I now recognize myself with my bill, Senate Bill number 23-61 to amend 1 CMC subsection 8390 to allow the settlement fund to make adjustments to benefit payments to reflect the correct calculation going forward and to authorize waivers of overpayments of retirement benefits and for other purposes. And also on Senate Resolution number 23-17 to honor the life of Honorable Pedro Regolofoy de Leon Guerrero and his immeasurable contributions and enduring dedication to the Commonwealth of the Northern Mariana Islands and its people. And if there's no objections to the members, I respectfully ask the floor leader to place this Senate Resolution 2317 on today's calendar. Thank you.
Madam President, at this time, I move to place Senate Resolution 2317 on today's resolution calendar.
Second.
There's a motion to place Senate Resolution number 23-17 on today's resolution calendar and has been seconded. All those in favor say aye. Nays? Senate Resolution 2317 is hereby placed on today's resolution calendar. Thank you, Floor Leader. Moving on to item N, reports of Special Conference Committee. There is none. Resolution calendar, and I'll recognize the floor leader.
Thank you, Madam President. I move for the adoption of Senate Resolution 2317 to honor the life of Honorable Pedro Regolofoy de Leon Guerrero and his immeasurable contributions and enduring dedication to the Commonwealth of the Northern Mariana Islands and its people.
There's a motion to adopt Senate Resolution number 2317 and has been seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Nays? Senate Resolution 2317 is hereby adopted. Floor leader.
Thank you, Madam President. I move for the adoption of Senate Resolution 2315 to promote e-commerce with tax benefits in order to attract internet-based businesses and other new industries to the Commonwealth.
There's a motion to adopt Senate Resolution number 2317. It has been seconded. I'm sorry, Senate Resolution number 2315. It has been seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Nays? Senate Resolution 2315 is hereby adopted. Moving on to item P under bill calendar, and I'll recognize the floor leader.
Thank you, Madam President. I move for the passage of Senate Bill 2361 to amend 1 CMC subsection 8390 to allow the settlement fund to make adjustments to benefit payments to reflect the correct calculation going forward and to authorize waivers of overpayments of retirement benefits and for other purposes.
There's a motion to pass Senate Bill number 23-61 and has been seconded. Clerk, please call the roll.
Senator Babalta,
Yes.
Senator Cruz,
Yes.
Senator Hofschneider,
Again.
Senator King Neighbors,
Yes.
Senator Manglonia Donald,
Yes.
Senator Manglonia Paul,
Yes.
Senator Mendiola.
Yes.
Madam President,
Yes.
Madam President, all 8 members present voting yes.
With all 8 members voting yes, Senate Bill number 23-61 hereby passes the Senate. Floor Leader.
Next up, I move for the passage of House Bill 2356 SD1 to utilize the remaining 60% of the total of indirect cost revenue or reimbursement by fiscal year collected for each grant to address the Sinamay government's financial deficit and for other purposes.
Second.
There's a motion to pass House Bill number 23-56 in the form of SD1. It has been seconded. Clerk, please call the roll.
Senator Babalta,
Yes.
Senator Cruz, Senator Hofschneider,
Again.
Senator King Neighbors,
Yes.
Senator Manglonia Donald,
Yes.
Senator Manglonia Paul,
Yes.
Senator Mendiola. Madam President,
Yes.
Madam President, 7 members voting yes, 1 member no, and 1 member absent.
With 7 members voting yes, 1 member voting no, and 1 absent, House Bill number 23-56 SD1 hereby passes the Senate. Floor Leader.
And last on the bill calendar, we have House Bill 2389 SD1, and I move for its passage, which is to appropriate $380,529.33 generated under 4 CMC Section 53036 and for other purposes.
Second.
There's a motion to pass House Bill number 23-89 in the form of SD1 and has been seconded. Clerk, please call the roll.
Senator Babalta,
Yes.
Senator Cruz,
Yes.
Senator Hofschneider, Senator King Neighbors,
Yes.
Senator Manglonia Donald,
Yes.
Senator Manglonia Paul,
Yes.
Senator Mendiola, Senator Hofschneider,
Yes.
Senator Mendiola.
Yes.
Madam President,
Yes.
Madam President, 8 members voting yes and 1 absent.
With all members voting yes, 1 absent, House Bill number 23-89 SD1 hereby passes the Senate. Moving on to item Q, petitions, memorials, and miscellaneous communications. Clerk.
Madam President, we have miscellaneous communication numbers 23-163 through 23-172.
Any comments from the members? None. Moving on to item R, announcements. I now recognize Senator Donald Manglonia.
Thank you, Madam President. Just to announce, so tomorrow I've scheduled the emergency committee meeting at 1:30 p.m. The CEDA managing director confirmed his attendance, and so all members are welcome to attend and ask any questions you may have in regards to the dividends bill that would provide 5.2 to the settlement fund. So again, it's at 1:30 tomorrow here in the Senate chamber. Additionally, on Friday, for those in the conference committee for the MPOT bill, we will be having our committee meeting this Friday. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Donald Manglonia. Any other announcements from the senator? Senator Paul Manglonia.
Yes, Madam President, at 3 o'clock after our session, we have an informal meeting, the Committee on Public Utility Transportation, and actually everyone's invited every member so that we can get an update from CPA Chair and Executive Director on the inter-island air transportation issue. So that's at 3 o'clock. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Paul Manglona. Any other announcements from the senators? None? Moving on to item S, floor leader for the adjournment.
At this time, I move for adjournment of today's session, subject to your call.
There's a motion to adjourn and has been seconded. All those in favor say aye. Nays, this meeting is hereby adjourned. Thank you, senators.